This is a food mincer that's probably been in my family for about 70 or 80 years. It's enamelled cast iron, very serviceable and still used to this day. Mostly to do with mincing vegetables, but sometimes we do some meat. The only problem with it is the thread there on the end of the mincing spiral is stripped, and so has the thread in the locking nut for the cutting plates. Now that is a 1/4 inch thread, Whitworth thread in there, and I'm going to remove the stud, drill it out and put a larger thread in. I'm going to use, because I'm in France and I can't get any Imperial sizes, I'm going to use a metric, so I'm going to go up to 8mm. And similarly I'm going to attempt to do the same with this locking nut, although that locking nut is also, I think that's also cast, so I'm going to have to be very careful with it, make sure I don't crack it. Right, I've clamped the thread in the vise after putting some release oil on it, and that's held there, so let's just give it a, yeah, see, it just, it's not bad for many years of grinding there. So that's what we've got. There's the hole, and I'll remove the offending stud, throw that away. I put some soft jaws on the vise and clamped the handle in there, so I'm just going to put a 6mm hole through the existing hole. The tapping drill for this 8mm is 6.8, so I'll just put some lubricant in. There's a 6.8 tapping drill, so let's just go into that. Okay, and now I'll do the same to the locking nut. Tapping drill. Put a bit of lubricant in there. And put the first taper tap in. Yeah, it's going nicely in. It's lovely with cast iron. Right, now for the plug tap, a bit more lubricant. Oh, that's great. Now for the more difficult bit, which is the little locking nut for the cutting blades. It's quite a fine bit of casting, that, and it's been machined out, so it is quite a thin section. So you have to be very gentle with it. This is really quite tricky to hold this nut because it is heavily machined on the underside and it's cast iron. So as you can see, I've clamped it in the jaws and using the offset of the jaws to also attempt to clamp it, but it isn't easy to hold, and I'm frightened. I just do not want to crack it. You see, it's a compromise between clamping it tightly enough to hold it. Just try and hold it a bit better. it's going. But I'm trying to be as gentle as I can because I'm really worried about this cast. And of course I am opening up the hole from a 1/4 inch to 8mm. Doesn't sound a lot, but in this sort of section cast iron we are pushing the limits a little bit. Bit more lubricant there. Gently. It is going. I know I'm putting quite a stress on that nut, so I've got to be as careful as I possibly can whilst it's doing the cutting. Yeah, it's alright. Ah, it's going. Yeah, in fact, the little shoulders of the nut there are turning and resisting the turning of the tap, which is good. Yeah. Right, it's now through. Oops. So I'll just run through with a sharper with the other tap just to clean it out, but yeah, that's fine. We're now through there. Right, let's get this tap going through, which it is. It's a combination between using the vise and hand holding it to keep it steady. Yeah, it has cut it. Surprising how much it is taking out. Would just like to get the last little bit done. Oh, it's cutting lovely. It's nice stuff, cast iron, but it's just I'm so worried about how fragile this thin section is. Yep, it's coming. It's done it. Has it done it enough? That's my new bolt. Yeah. Brilliant. So that's going to be my new stud going into the spiral, into the shaft, and that's me locking up. So yep, so there's the bolt in place now, and I've just started it off, wind it down. Right, that's seated. Okay, I've left a nut on here so that when I do saw it off, I can just make sure it will come off from the saw cut. So that's in now. Just put the soft jaws back in and then I saw off the bolt. Now if I set the position of the nut there to the combined length created by the two cutting plates and the locking nut, I can now saw that off. That's marked my position. So I'll just hold it in the vise, but I'm going to hold the bit I'm going to discard in the vise. Like that. And I'll just dress that with the grinder, and then I should be able to get the nut off quite easily. If not, I'll run a die down there just to clean up the top. So just a quick almost kiss with the fine grinding wheel and the nut comes off. Right, so we'll put it together now and give it a test run. So the stationary plate goes in, rotating cutter goes in, and with the newly threaded lock nut, some carrot here to just give it a go.